Yeah, Allama Nawawi rahmatullahi, he brought about a different topic. Babu Raja, may have hopes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, there's two things. One is to have hopes, and one is to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a person's iman will not become complete till you don't have hope and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Allah has written al-iman bayn al-khawf wa raja, that iman is between fear and hope. So a person only got hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and does not have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then his iman will not be complete. The person only got fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then his iman will not be complete. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah la ya'isum min rahmatillah illa al-qawmul kafirun. That only those people who stay away from the rahmat and the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For a mu'min, for a believer, these two things are necessary. To have the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, to have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, and to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also at the same time. We find in the world also, these things are also apparent. We find wherever you want somebody to do something, then either you will encourage him to do something, give him some hopes, then he will do those things there. Otherwise you frighten him and warn him, then because of that he will stay away from something. So thus is a natural thing in the instinct in the person. When you give hopes to somebody, then the person, because of hope, he does that work quickly. And sometimes you warn the person of something, they'll stay away from those things. So these things are a natural thing in a human being. That's why they said that jalb manfaat, whenever you find there's some benefit in it, then the person will go forward to try and achieve this thing there. And the second thing is called dafa mazarat, where a person, there's harm for a person, the person will stay away from those things. So these are the principles where a person's behavior is centered around, that wherever there is hope, where there is any benefit, then the person will go forward to achieve that benefit. And wherever there is some harm, they'll try and stay away from that harm. From the Shariat, whatever command Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and we are bound to obey commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In those commands, so there's these two categories we'll find. That certain things we find which you got to stay away from. And certain things what you got to do. So one is called ma'murat and one is called manhiyat. Things which you got to do, that is called ma'murat, and those things stay from is called manhiyat is called. So those things which we must do, there's hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives hopes to that. If you do this, then this will do, the promise is this for this. In other words, whatever work you want to do, Allah promise you something in Jannah for that. For example, you read the Quran, for example, on every ayat you're going to read, your stage will rise in Jannah. So there's hope for you that the more you're going to read, the more stage you're going to rise in Jannah. You read your 12 rakats and namaz and day and night and also in Aqada, then Allah will give you a palace in Jannah, a house in Jannah, Allah will give you. So where there is hope, then the person will do those things. So Allah Ta'ala has adopted the same thing. Allah has given you hope that if you do this, you will get this in return. And at other place, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, if you do this, then you will get punished. And difficulties will be. So a person, because of that, he stay away from the difficulties. That's why you'll find among the Sahab, also you'll find among them also, they loved Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So because of the love for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because of the love of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, they did a lot of good work they did. And at the same time, they feared also, because of fear, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will get angry with them, will get displeased with them, they stayed away from a lot of wrong things also. So same thing was with us also, that we must have that hope and fear within ourselves, have hope, and have the love for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Then the person, because of the love, he'll keep on doing everything that will please Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. If you've got no love for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then you've got a carefree life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't concern whether you do something good, something bad. So the love alone will encourage you to do such things that will stop you from the displeasure of Allah and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why in the lives of the Sahaba Kiram will find many examples where the Sahaba did work because of the love for Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on the other end, you'll find that in many places the Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned the Sahaba from doing something. So because of that, they stayed away from those things also. So it's important to understand that we've got to have that love for Nabi Karim. For example, you find it comes in Hadith also, it comes that there was one Sahabi had a red cloth with him. Nabi Karim saw the red cloth and told him, this cloth is not for men. It's not a good color. So this Sahabi immediately took that cloth and put it into the fire. And Nabi asked him next day, what do you do with the cloth? You burn it. So why you burn it? Give it to your women folk in the house to use it. Why? They could have used it. It was nice for him to use the bright colors. But they thought something Nabi Sallam just liked is not fit to be on my body or not for my family's body also. That was the love they had for Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So many other examples we'll find with it also. One Sahabi had a gold ring in his hand. Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw the gold ring in his hand and took it out and said, this gold is not for men, and threw it down on the ground. And now Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went away. So other people told the Sahaba to take that ring and give it to your wife and children. He said, I'll never pick it up now. If some took it from my finger and put it down, I can't pick it up now. Finish. No matter how expensive it can be, I can't do it because Nabi Sallam disliked it. So they had the love for Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than their likes they put themselves. That's whatever pleased Nabi Karim sallallahu, they did that to show the allegiance to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the same Sharia is still with us also. We got the same ahadith with us also. Those same teachings of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam among us also. We got to try and check the status and degree of our iman also. We got to check now. How much do we love Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How much do we follow the teaching of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How much do we stay away from those Nabi sallallahu alaihi forbidden us to do? That we got to take a stock of those things there. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu will find that he also once said that if it is announced, for example, it is announced, besides one person, everybody will be forgiven. So say, I have a fear that maybe I'm that person who won't be forgiven, you say. And then the announcement made that all will go to Jannah, that all will go to Jahannam besides one person. Said that I got hope that I'll go to Jannah, inshallah. So we had a high degree of hope also inside, and high degree of fear also had within themselves. So that's what we got to acquire in our lives. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he also gave advice to his sons and told them that if you got so much of neki, so much of sawab as the whole world with you, or all the people of the world you got sawab with you, then to also mean fear that maybe Allah Ta'ala won't accept this. And at the same time, if you've got so much of guna with you also, then have this hope in you that Allah Ta'ala will forgive also, inshallah. So this fear and hope must always in the person's life, then the person will remain on track. So Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, what she says that a small guna, no matter how small guna be, don't do it because it's a small guna. And a small good action, don't think it was a small action and leave it out also. So you don't know that good action can become means of your salvation also, and that small action which we are going to do will save you and will be means of salvation also. And that small guna will stay away from, they can also be for salvation. It can be. So you can't say that maybe that small little good action you are going to do, Allah forgive you because of that. Allah forgive you. And you can't say that small guna, you thought it was a small guna and you did it, that will become means of your retribution of Qiyamah. Allah take your task because of a small guna. So you got to keep this in mind. This small advices was to understand and to put it in practice in our lives. That whenever you see a small guna, don't never a small guna, do it, never mind. You know that small guna can take you to Jahannam, can take you also. The small sawab, work of sawab to do, don't say small sawab. I got a lot of sawab. I don't need the small sawab. You don't, that small sawab can take you to Jannah. It can be a means of your salvation. It can be. There's one incident also mentioned in the Kitab. There was one pious person. Somebody saw him in his dream after he passed away. They asked him, how did Allah favor you? What happened to you? He replied that Allah being present in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Then Allah asked, what did you bring? I started looking at all my action, what I did. Whichever action I was thinking of, that I thought that this has got some ulterior motives inside. There wasn't sincerity in it, whatever it is. Something, what must I present in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I don't think I got any good action to present in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then all of a sudden I thought now, and that we think that one thing which I got is Tawheed. Tawheed will be something which a person calls the sincerity, that's the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawheed means to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all his qualities, with all the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that goodness, the badness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, life and death is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and besides that many other qualities of Allah subhanahu encompassing Tawheed it is now. So that Wazir told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I brought Tawheed, now I got Tawheed, which means I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's side. So immediately Allah replied, what about the night of the milk? So whatever the story of the milk was, one day at night he drank some milk and he had some pain in his stomach. So the morning people asked him, what's happening? He said, because of the milk I drank, the pain came in my stomach. So there, normally the person normally speaks like that. Because of this I got hurt, because of this something happened. It just comes out like that. But yet Allah is testing this, telling that now you said that milk, the pain was because of the milk in the ache in your stomach was because of the milk you drank. What about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You know what Allah ta'ala causes a person also, Allah ta'ala makes a person sick also, Allah ta'ala helps a person also. Everything is under control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now how do you blame that milk? She have said this from Allah's side, the pain, whatever it is. So now I had no way out to move. I said, I've got no good action also. And the thing that I thought was Tawheed, that also now is not acceptable. What has happened to me? So now because of this, I was quite worried now. And he thought that there's no way for my salvation now. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, never mind. Go, I forgive you. What happened there? What happened? What Allah forgive him now? So one day he was out of his house and he saw one small little cat was shivering because of the cold outside. So he felt mercy and kind towards the cat, and he brought the cat in the house, and in the house he had one small little coal stove, small little called angeti, small like a heater, and put a cat near that heater. After a little while, the cat felt comfortable, felt warm itself, stayed for a little while, and on its own the cat went away after that. So Allah said that because of the kindness you showed to the cat at the time of need, because of it I have forgiven you. But it is a small little action. You never think it will be something good also. You never think it will be something of Sahab also. You never think anything about it. But that was the means of his salvation. So all the namaz he read, all the roza he kept, all the good actions he did, nothing was questioned. But this was questioned about the milk, and was forgiven because of the small action, but you don't even normally think to be ibadat also. In the hadith is another incident mentioned also of one a woman who had loose morals on. She was a prostitute, in other words. And one day she was going in the jungle, she was going somewhere, and she felt very thirsty, and she found there was a well there, and normally in the olden times find some wells they have a wall around it, some wells don't have a wall around it. So, and sometimes the water is deep in the well, so it has a little bit of stairs inside. Where you can go down the stairs and take water inside. So she went down, she drank water to a full, and she came out of the well. She came out of the well, she found one dog that was very, very thirsty, tongue was sticking out. So she thought how thirsty I was, and because of the thirst, I drank water inside. How is this dog going to go inside and drink water inside? That's not puppy, and the puppy. How is the puppy going to go inside and drink some water inside? So she went back again inside. And how much did they got water now? She took out the socks and filled the water in the socks. And now she to climb up the wall. She was catch both her hands. How she would catch the socks? So she took the socks and put it between the teeth, and she came up and fed the puppy water from her socks. On this, Allah Ta'ala liked this action of her so much, Allah Ta'ala forgave her. So imagine such a bad woman, committing so much of guna, and so much of the warnings we mentioned in the hadith for committing that type of guna, But by her just having been kind towards one small little puppy, Allah accepted that and forgive also. So to have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter how small that action can be, how small that deed can be, but have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah forgive us, that thing can be a means of our to save us. And sometimes a person thinks the guna to be very small, whereas that guna is not very small. And what is the meaning of a guna? Meaning of guna in a sense is to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator, Allah ta'ala is our nourisher, our sustainer, everything. We are such a great being we are so much indebted to him. To make do anything against him, against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is a sin on its own already, that is. Just displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is a sin already. And you can see the example in the world also. For example, a person, an ordinary person, you find, if you don't listen to any of his talk, whatever it is, listen to him, nothing happens. You won't lose out anything. For example, a king tell you something and then you disobey the king, then there you get punished. A beggar asks you something, you don't give beggar anything, nothing will happen. But if the king asks you something, you don't give no king, there will be punished, will be taken to task, The same manner here also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator, is our nourisher, our sustainer, and to displease our sustainer is something which is a very serious thing in other words. So here we find, to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in other words, there is nothing small or big. Every small thing is to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. So every guna is a big guna in other words. So we'll find, in the kitab we'll find there's a lot of discussion carrying on about the guna which is small or guna which is big. So here you'll find many ulama have come to that conclusion that whatever guna you do, every guna is a big guna, is a kabira guna, because you must see who you are disobeying. So there is no guna which is small, in other words. If Allah Ta'ala is so great, and you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then every guna is a big guna already. You can't disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all, because of the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time you find that there are some other ulama have differentiated and said that some gunas are big gunas and some gunas are small gunas also. In the Quran وَإِن تَجْتَنِبُوا كَبَائِرَ مَا تُنْهَوْنَ أَن نُكَفِّرْ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. So here some gunas as such which Allah Ta'ala just forgives like that also. Allah has made different means for you for your gunas to get forgiven also. And because of that, some of the ulama say that some gunas are big and some gunas are small. And at the same time, a person insists in doing small gunas and is bold to come with small gunas, then the small gunas will add up to a big guna to become then. So it doesn't mean that the small guna now you keep on doing, you are bold to do the completing those gunas. There's nothing wrong with the small gunas, but the small gunas will add up to become a big guna afterwards. So that also is wrong in other words. So a person shouldn't have the habit, shouldn't be habituated to commit small gunas in other words. There was one, in the hadith, it mentioned another incident mentioned in the hadith. There's one woman, she had a cat with her, and she tied the cat up in her home, and she never feed the cat also. She left the cat loose, let the cat go and look for his own food and survive. But then she kept the cat fastened in the house, and she never feed the cat also, with the result the cat died. Then because Karim said that this person will go into Jahannam. Others will be punished because she left the cat loose, open, the cat look for his own food and eat whatever it is. But here you kept the cat fastened, never allow the cat to go anywhere also, and never feed the cat also. So the result, it will go to Jahannam, will go. So it shows that the rights of one another is also very important. You can't harm or hurt anybody without any reason. That also is worthy of our retribution by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where this seems to be a very small incident, but here what Allah says shall be punished. So here where we mention the statements of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, it shows here also that we thought that that's a small little thing with the cat, whatever happened, but it's not a small thing. The big thing is eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The small thing was the means of a destruction in the hereafter. Find in the kitab of Sirah also find that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam should also be very anxious to do more good work, that achieve more nekis, understand? Like the Sahab also is not fine. They were also very greedy for do more good actions. Like how we are greedy for money and wealth, for wealthy, worldly things. They were greedy for the akhirah always, doing all the good works. How much, wherever the opportunity should do good work, more and more should do good work. Like we find, in our situation, for example, we find, if one side on the table you put some money, some cell phone, some food, whatever it is, and one side you'll put the tasbih, you put the Quran, and you can put a musalla. The hand will go towards the other side where the food is, where the money is, where wealth will go. It won't go. I think will be in the side here. That is our conditions. But Sahaba was other way around. They know what the world. They worried more of the how to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these types of examples you'll find in the kitabs again and again. You'll find this type of example. You'll find. It's mentioned in hadith on one place where when Nabi Karim should go in Safar, and he's going on the journey, should go, the Sahaba should accompany him, and the time should come now sometimes to do some collective work. For example, you got to cook some food, for example. Then you go look for wood also, you go on the fire also, you got to cook the food also, you got to wash the dishes, all different the work days. So all the Sahaba should distribute the work amongst themselves. Nabi Karim said, I'll do this work. The Sahaba said, we will do all the work. Said, no, let me also do the work. Why must I stay behind also? Sometimes the Karim should say that this is my responsibility. Sometimes said, don't think to be very weak. I'm also strong. I'm stronger than you also, sometimes to say. You make some excuse to do the work and take part in the work you do. No matter what little work it can be. Sometimes just to pick up one piece of wood from you to put in whatever it is. If you do some little work, that's also part of Sahab, it is in other words. Otherwise, Nabi taught us that no matter when you're doing collective work, even a little bit work you do also, don't think that little work to be little. Because it's added to the work we have done and will be rewarded for that. The little work can be a means of your salvation, it can be. That's why Nabi Karim Sallallahu showed this in this incident here, that he did little work also. Sometimes some Sahabi are very weak, for example, or they are sick, for example. They cannot do work. So who will do their work now? So Nabi Sallallahu took a response on him that I'll do the work from their side, whatever. So this we taught was that whenever we work, whenever there's collective work to be done, at that time we try and do extra work or do whatever, little bit also try and do something. Don't become lazy and you all do whatever you want to do. No, we taught that we take part in the work, which is collective work always. And Hazrat says our condition is such nowadays, if somebody's been encouraged to do some good work, then the person speaks very boldly, then I've got a lot of neki by me already. So this to speak such words from our mouth is something show that how much of lack of interest we got in things we got in. And to speak something like that is very, very detrimental also. To say I've got a lot of neki, I don't want neki. What am I doing more neki? So these type of words we speak is something which is very dangerous. We don't speak things like that. And so what we discussed was Aisha radiallahu anhu, what she said, no matter how small action can be, a good action, don't leave it out because it's small, and no matter how small a guna can be, don't leave it because it's a small guna. Nabi Karim also mentioned that Iyakum Muqaratul Dhunub, that save yourself from guna also. For small guna, small sin, try and save yourself from that. Then don't think it will be a small guna and I'll just do it now, I'll just do it. No, don't think it will be like that. That's why it's mentioned yet that the basis of Iman is on two things. One is on hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one is the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when these two put together, they become a balance in our nation, a balance now. That we do something because of the hope and happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and stay away from guna because of the fear and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these things must be with us at all times with us, then there will be a balance in our nature, there will be. Yeah, Allah and Nabi Rahmatullah so writes that we could have hopes in the rahmat, mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because of that, he has brought about this ayats of the Quran is mentioned. Before having this concept of having hopes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was actually trying to understand one thing. Hazrat Rahmatullah said that we think that to make guna upon guna and then say that no, Allah ta'ala is very merciful, Allah ta'ala is very kind, Allah ta'ala will forgive us. And this is always on our tongue when anything happens. And to think in this way, that Allah Ta'ala is very merciful, very kind, Allah forgive all my sins, whatever it is, I don't have to worry if anything. This is completely out of text, out of context, this is. And even if you got full hopes, and you got some proof, whatever it is, also that the guna will be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then to speak these type of things with pride or arrogance is not befitting a Muslim. You cannot speak such things. So I was also saying, let me give one small example. From there you can understand maybe what I'm trying to say. So say, for example, a person has got a knife. So what the knife starts cutting his hands now. So what will you say to that person? So what are you doing? How are you hurting yourself? Why are you cutting yourself? What does the person say? That don't worry, I'm cutting my hand, but I've got such a medicine with me. I've got. Then when I put the medicine, I'll get better quickly again. So what will call such a person? So and it says. So we're telling that what you say is definitely correct. What you're doing, that you got medication for it. But now to hurt yourself, to harm yourself, and not use the medication, whatever logic is in that. So it doesn't mean that you got a medication for it now. You must hurt yourself, you must cut yourself, and put yourself into difficulty. It doesn't mean that now. But the meaning of that medication you got is what? In case of emergency, or by chance something happens, someone gets hurt or something, now you use the medication to heal yourself now. It means that the medication you got is to heal yourself at the time of accident or something happened by mistake, something happened. Now use the medication to look after yourself and heal yourself up. So a person who behave like that, just I got medication, I'll just cut myself. Those are people who are not intelligent people, those people. An intelligent person will look after the medication at time of need. He'll use the medication. But the same say that sometimes will find some children or people who are uneducated, ignorant people, they may do something like that. Learned people will never do something like that. So if when a person has got guarantee also that my gunas are going to be forgiven, then too this person won't have the guts to commit more guna also. Like the person knows that if I would cut my hand, I'll go pain and difficulties. But I got a medicine to cure myself also. But still too, he won't cut himself because he'll undergo difficulties to cure himself also. The same manner, when person makes guna also, even if you got full guarantee from, for example, that I'll forgive all your gunas, then too, that person is not correct for him to have the guts to commit any guna also. Because that guna will be detrimental for him. That's why you'll find Fazal Amal, the Shaykh Rahmatullah has written many hadiths concerning this. That for example, a person is namaz, that Allah Ta'ala forgives guna also. And ulama has written that means the small gunas we make, sometimes unknowingly make small gunas, that gunas get forgiven by reading our namaz also, by making wuzu also, by walking, going to the masjid also. All the small hadiths we find in the kitab is there, that our small gunas get forgiven because of that. But concerning the big gunas, the kabira guna, that will only get forgiven by making tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making sincere tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then all the big gunas will get forgiven. That's why you'll find come the hadith also, man qama laylatul qadr iman wa ihtisaban ghafara lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi. So a person who in Laylatul Qadr stays awake and make ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah forgive all your sins. What does that mean? It means that there is minor sins, small sins, Allah Ta'ala will forgive his small sins. Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi, he wrote something from his father, one of the Sahab Rahmatullah alayhi, he says that why the exception has been put there that the small gunas will be forgiven, because a mu'min, a person who have proper iman in his heart, will never commit a big sin. It's impossible for him to commit a big sin. Only small sins unknowingly he'll commit, but purposely he'll never commit a sin. A mu'min. That is a sign of a good mu'min. So that's why the big guna, the person, a mu'min will never combat, and he commits a big guna, immediately make toward to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this guna is forgiven by all the small amal. Is the small gunas the person does unknowingly, does the small gunas. So small gunas, by making our ibadat, different types of ibadat we make, the small gunas get washed away because of that. So here, as Mustakim said, that whatever it is, must try and stay away from all types of guna, whether it's big gunas or small gunas, must try and stay from all guna. Even if you've got some guarantee also that guna will be forgiven, then too it doesn't behave a Muslim to commit any guna at any time. By a person making guna, enjoy making guna for a little while, but the end result is punishment, difficulties, hardships. The person stay away from guna, the little while stay away from guna, the hardship for staying away from guna, but the end result is always happiness. Always keep that in mind. That look, the guna we're going to make, little while we're going to enjoy, but after that is all hardships after that. And we do some good work and stay away from guna, that restrain within ourselves for a little while also, that hardship is. But but afterwards, forever and ever, there is happiness for us afterwards. You keep this in mind, and then it becomes easy for you to make more good work and stay from guna all the time. As a moment, you could keep this in mind always, that Allah has created us, and Allah has make some laws, some rules, some regulations for us to follow. According to that, we're going to conduct our lives. When you have that, then inshallah, then it becomes very easy for us to do good work. And if you keep in mind that there's accountability for us after this life, there's another life to come. On the day of Qiyamah, we are going to be answerable for whatever actions we do, going to be answerable for our actions on the day of Qiyamah. This thought alone, the tasawwur akhir alone comes a person, then automatically that person won't commit any guna. Because there is going to give an account for all the actions which he has done. And the action is done, the action which he did done also, that Allah Ta'ala knows what he has done also. At the same time, the Farishta has written whatever is done also. The Farishta also know about it, and it's written in the books also at the same time. And at the same time, the body parts also has witnessed that guna you have made also. And the ground where you are standing also, the ground also has witnessed whatever you have done also. Because so many witnesses will have what has happened then after. So it's important to understand that we will try and stay from guna and just pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you'll find Iqbal Sahab rahmatullahi, he wrote some poems. I should always say that some of his poems are very, very deep in meaning. He said, "Oh Allah, please forgive me for my sins. I am full of sins. Please forgive me for my sins. And if you would take me to task also, then take me to task in such a manner that away from Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sight." It doesn't happen that if some see his ummah being punished, he'll get hurt. Then that doesn't happen. I was so much of love had for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am a sinner. Definitely I am a sinner, whatever it is. But when taking my accounts of my deeds and take it away from the sight of Nabi Kareem, he must have feel hurt about whatever it is. Because Nabi Kareem came as a mercy and to mankind he came. And he taught us everything, how to live in the world. He gave us everything easy for us to understand what to do. And then too, we never follow the way of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How hurt won't he feel? I explained to them how to live, and yet they committed guna. How hurt won't Nabi feel? Like for example, you take in our lives, you'll find a father tells the child, don't do certain thing, mustn't do certain thing. Then he get caught up somewhere in doing something. Now he's been punished and put into jail, whatever it is. How hurt won't that father feel? And I told the son he mustn't do this and see what he did now. Then the same way, Nabi Kareem taught us how to live in this world, and we live against that, contrary to what Nabi taught us to live in the world. How bad, how hurt one Nabi feel on the day of Qiyamah. So you could keep this in mind. Whatever guna we're going to do, all this will be on the day of Qiyamah. It will be in front of everybody. Our elders will be there. Everybody will be there. What will happen to us? Whatever the disgrace at that time. So to save ourselves from that disgrace, it's important that we try and follow the sunnah way of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Save ourselves from all types of disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta